Work-life balance update. A little while ago, I put up a video and it was about how imbalanced my life had become and trying to make a change. So I'm a couple of months into making that change, and I've got to admit it's been a bit harder than I thought it would be. But it's slow going, but there's progress. Time for family. So in my last video, I talked about these beautiful little cousins of mine who are growing up in Australia, which is half a planet away from me now that I'm living in the USA. So, it's important for me to be a part of their lives, and what I've started doing is, we've started sending just little short 15-second videos to each other, and it's just chit-chat and blowing kisses and lots of nonsense, but wonderful nonsense, because it's a great way to stay connected. I think for me it's about sending those videos more frequently and staying in touch, but I'm really glad to have started. Time to recuperate. Well, I've started taking weekends off, which is really nice, but it's hard to not feel guilty sometimes about, that I could be spending that time doing some work, and it's really hard not to check emails, when your phone is so handy. So what I've started to do, it's a piece of advice that I was given, is I look at my calendar when a task comes up in my mind that I could be doing on the weekend, and I allocate time to do it during the week. So that's been really helpful in alleviating some of that anxiety. But if you have any other tips about how to have guilt-free weekends off, I would really love to hear them. Sleep and home. So I've noticed that my body, it can't seem to get enough sleep at the moment. So my travel schedule has still been a bit intense. About 2 weeks ago, I had to go to 3 continents in 5 days. So we have this little area at Shoes of Prey, and it's called Snooze of Prey, and it's where you can take a little break if you want to. And I get quite nauseous when I'm jet lagged. Normally I would just shove myself through it, but it usually ends up with me feeling absolutely disgusting. So instead of having tea or coffee, I've started working with that jet lag and taking 20-minute naps. I've noticed that it's helped me to adjust a whole lot better, which is really, really good. Diet and exercise. So I went to a naturopath this week, and it turns out I've got some issues around adrenaline, so I've had to make some diet changes. So that's staying away from cacao, sugar, wheat. Huge problem for me. I love chocolate and gelato, but it's a good thing if I can get this under control from my adrenaline spiking and then totally dropping out. On the exercise side of things, I've totally not even started that journey. I know that I need to form a really good habit around that and prioritize it the same way that I prioritize brushing my teeth twice a day. So that's something I'm committed to working on next, because I know when I exercise, I feel way less anxious and a lot better about my body. Being present. So this is a really big one for me. I'm really happy to say that majority of the time I don't have my phone on the table at dinner now, which is great. But what I'm really struggling with is being engaged with conversations as they're happening. I always feel like I'm having this out-of-body experience where I'm not connected into the emotions of what's happening, and I'm just kind of there. So I'm trying to work on this by doing some mindfulness meditations, but I've got to admit I don't actually really know where to start with this particular one. So if you have any thoughts on it or suggestions, I would really love to hear them in the comments. So all in all, there's progress, which is great. Slow progress, but nonetheless progress in the right direction, which is really good. So, a lot of you were really generous in the last video in sharing with me all of the sorts of ways that you've experienced this too. So I would love to hear how you're going now that we're a couple of months down the track. Also too, I'd love any advice that you're willing to share, particularly around mindfulness and being present. So that's all for this week. I hope that you're having a wonderful week, and don't forget, do everything before you're ready. Bye.